Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, I've got some plant room updates. Yeah, already. The plants have only been in my plant room for a few weeks now, but there's already some updates to be had. I did order some new Ficus philippinensis trees for hopefully an upcoming workshop. Through my community education where I teach, they approached the teachers for any enrichment classes, and I said, hey, let's throw a bonsai class together, and they all were excited about it, and I hope I get some people to sign up and we can have a nice workshop here coming up. So we'll have indoor plants that we can take care of, and then we'll give them some good aftercare instructions. And though it's best to keep repots in the summertime, that isn't always the case based on, of course, your aftercare. So we've got these in case we can use them here in the next week or two. If not, we'll save them till spring. If not, then we'll have them for summer. So we are ready to go with some trees. The philippinensis with a nice little leaf here, and made the travel all the way down from Weigert's. Thinking about our friends in Weigert's nursery down in Florida after the hurricane, and they're getting back into more original or I guess normal routines now since power is back and all that kind of stuff from a couple weeks back with that hurricane stuff. So good to see Weigert's back on their feet. So I was glad to place an order through them. So what am I going to do today? I've got so many things I could do, but here's already the main problem. I've talked about this in other videos, of course, and it is so true, and it's already happened to me, so I have to make some changes. So as I step out of the way here, this whole shelf, except for a couple of oddities, is my PAs. Yes, this is my Portulacaria super forest right in here. Just put these new lights in after I got this big grow light. Those trees are loving life over there. But the Portulacarias are so thick from that last push of summer growth that when I go into water with my water bottles, the water's going all over the place and it's just hard to get good watering. Now I don't have to water that much down here with the PAs, but it's always nice to have good access to your plants. Whether it's a cold frame or your plant room, if it's a pain in the butt to water, you're going to miss some spots and you're not going to water as good and your trees may suffer from it. So I'm going to take the recipe right out of my own playbook, right? And I'm going to try to take care of these. So I've got a lot of pruning and cutting back to do. So let's dig into some of these PAs, make them all really nice and super small and compact to get that winter first push of growth. Well, it's only fall, but that first flush of growth here in my plant room after we trim them all down. And I think I'm going to keep all the cuttings again, and we'll get those going as well. Hey, let's dig in. And we might as well start with some big ones because, well, they're just growing like crazy. Let's set it up on the table. We have a lot of work to do, so we're going to cut right to the chase. I'm just going to show you this quick tree up close and personal now, and then we'll just do some quick trimming on all these trees to get them shorter, and we're going to save a lot of these clippings to put them into some recycled bonsai soil and propagate them for some new trees. So this was the tree, my leaning PA, that I cut off the great big top to. I'm in the mood for something drastic today. There we go. Just like that, as Nigel would say, we have a new tree. Now I could get multiple cuttings from this because it's such a big tree. So that made for a really big cut. We'll have to see what we're going to do with the design of this tree now. The tree before the chop was nice, it was getting bigger, and I said, hey, let's cut this thing way back, and then we made a really big chop. And so now looking at this tree, now look at all the growth down here. You know, we've got 6 inches of growth on some of these, and you can't even hardly tell that I chopped the center chunk of this tree. Let me go take the top part of this tree that we propagated in the summer, and let's see if it's still alive. There you go. Look at that tree. This was the top of the other tree. So if I bring in the other tree right here, this was up top. And we cut it off and we propagated it, and look at this guy. We have another tree, and look at all of this growth on this tree from just being propagated a few short months ago. That's why PAs are so fun. If you haven't considered PAs for a tropical tree for you, consider it. Growing great indoors and outdoors, and you can play with them most of the times of the year. It's super great. So we're even gonna have to cut back this cutting from that tree to get this one, again, easier to water in the plant room. So we'll put this one aside, we'll tackle this one first, and then we're going to go to town with all of them, and we'll see how long it takes me to work on these tonight. And don't worry, I won't show you every single clip. But I'm going to take a look at this tree now, and I've got this as the front, looking real good. It's leaning a little bit more towards the back here, so when we replant it, we might put it up a little bit more like this. But I'm going to see if I like the other direction better. I don't know that I do, because this big branch comes right in our face, right? This is a really big branch. We could cut this thing way back and get another big tree right off the get-go here. I don't know that I want to cut it that seriously today, though. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is cut this one back right here to this growth right here. I'm going to cut this one way back to these growth spots right here. Look at this. This cutting right here, if this goes into the ground, has already 4 every other branches here, 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 here. This one is set up to be a tree in no time. Look at this branch right here. All of this is coming off. We got 2 spouts going off left and right sprouts, and this one could become a really good cutting. So these trees can just go absolutely wild. We're actually going to cut this one back even further to this growth. We're going to put that in there. So let's show you this side over here. This is kind of coming right out at the viewer. Let's go way back here, another cutting for sure. We got this one that's split real nice. And we can cut that shorter and shorter for those secondary branches areas. This one's super long, we can cut that one shorter. And this is just going to shoot out more growth, and we're going to get more thickening of the trunk, and everything's going to be really super amazing. Cutting everything back lower. Look at this one, splits really nice right there into 2. This one's splitting down there into 2. This one's getting super long, but it's growing back that way. Clip and grow, see how this is growing more that way. This one we can go way down here. Let's cut that off. All right. All right. So in the matter of about 60 seconds there, we just gave this thing a real nice little haircut. Some of the smaller cuttings I won't probably put into some new bonsai soil, but the bigger ones I will. So let me take a quick peek at that. We have this big old branch coming out right in front of us that blocks our view right here. So let's cut this one all the way back. Let me get a nice close look at this one. Yeah, we're just going to cut that whole thing off. Look at this thing. Look at that developed. Developed this wide tree here. Phenomenal growth. Again, just a short couple of weeks. And we can put those in the ground for cutting. This one's coming right out of this too. That's all new growth since we made that cutting. So now we can see the trunk again. I'll get my little concave cutter here and clean this one up just a little bit more. There we go. Now this one's growing in the inside. We're going to cut that right off. That's too small. We're not going to worry about propagating that one. This one's brand new right in here. It's competing with this branch back here. I almost don't mind this branch right here. If we were to cut this whole tree back and make this a new cutting, this could be a new branch here, and we'd make this tree kind of more look like that. So that one could stay for a little bit longer, so we'll cut this one that competes against it just for right now. And we're just going to cut these back shorter. Things are covering each other up. And there we have a tree that's got some, we got some interesting, this is going right at the viewer again. We'll cut that off. It's growing up this way. We like that. We'll just cut this tip off. Let's cut this inside direction off. And there we go. We got a couple of things to decide in here, but I'm not too worried about that, although I probably should take this little one off here. Look at this one growing down right here. Let's cut that one off. I'm going to leave this one in the front here for right now, for the moment. And we just took care of this tree in a heartbeat. This one's growing down back here. We'll cut that off. I thought this was a fallen leaf, which it was, down in the corner. When I pulled it out, I said, hey, wait a minute. That's coming out very bizarre. Look at that. We have new root system right here. We have a root system on that leaf, and this could become
a new tree. Now that's pretty tiny. I've got a lot of big cuttings. I'm not going to worry about that one. But that's how easy these can root. You got a big leaf that falls to the ground, and it's going to re-root. So this branch curves too much to the front. I'm going to cut that off right there. This is probably going to be a decent cutting. It's a thicker one. We can get that on the ground. And now you can see more of this upward movement here. I don't know what this tree will do in the future. But there we just gave it a little bit of a haircut. I'm not going to be too precise on this one today. I've got so much work to do in here with all of these PAs that we're not going to get to every single little thing we could cut off. We can cut off these big leaves that are growing super strong. We could, all the downward facing things, some upward facing things. We're just going to have a lot of scraps here in a little while after some work here. But we'll go ahead and put this one aside, and we'll continue our quest to trim all of these PAs so I can water better. So now, as you can see, if I put a watering can this way, or my spray bottles, I'm going to be able to get that soil wet as I need it. There's tree number 1. Now, brace yourselves. Let's do a couple of trees on the quick. Has it occurred to anybody that I might have too many PAs? I'm about a third or halfway done with the PAs. We got the big forest now. This was just a forest cutting from like less than a year ago, and look at how much it bushed out again after we cut it this summer. Boom, it's growing. We're gonna give it another haircut so I can just water this thing in the plant room. We've got more to go. Let's keep going. Now that they're all cut, they seem to all fit on the spinning table except for these 3 right here. Whew. Now we have to put them back on the shelf. This is so fantastic. You can see I got all the plants back onto the boot trays on the shelf, and I have room for a couple of more. And all of the trees are back, so that's fabulous. So cutting all these back, I probably got rid of 75% of the foliage. 50 to 75% of the foliage, maybe more than 75. And we have room for everything now here with all my PAs and a couple of the tropicals I have here on the bench. So
that was a success for sure. All the trees will get watered very, very well, and I won't have to worry about water spilling all over the place and not getting into the pots.
A quick peek at the carnage, my ode to Jay. Here you go, Jay, from Blue Jay Bonsai. This is the stuff I'm not going to probably use, and this I will use. And I'm actually going to put it in this big black crate that I have. We'll put some bonsai soil in there in a couple of days, and we'll stick some of these cuttings right in there. And we'll have another tray that looks kind of like this back over here on my grow table. Look at that. That was the last time we did cuttings. We did about 36 of them, and look at how wonderful they're growing right here. They're all starting to lean up towards that light. Fantastic. So the carnage cam for tonight, we've got a lot of foliage gone. Let's do our final prune. Last but certainly not least, I want to do my variegated cork bark Portulacaria Afra. So this one took off in the last couple weeks of summer too, and has a really fun bit of branches going down there. We're going to put it right here in this little tiny Sarah Rayner pot that I won at one of the Minnesota Bonsai Club events. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this guy in there. So let me get rid of this wire in here. Okay, we've got our drainage screen there. We're going to put some of the bigger soil on the bottom just for a little bit. Good drainage soil for our PAs that don't need a lot of water. Got some small soil in here, and let's see if we can dig in here and get this guy out. Don't want to break any branches here. They're all over the place. Okay, there we go. I'll take a peek at the soil here. This is from one of my friend Matt's place. Matt over in Wisconsin, just across the border there. And he is doing a lot of PA work. And so he had some access to some cork bark PAs that he gave me a couple. And then he gave me this variegated one, and I haven't showed him yet. I'll have to have him tune into the video here so we can get a little glimpse at how the tree is doing here. All right. Cut off a few of the roots. Man, that thing's kind of side heavy here. Might need some rocks in here to hold this in. So we got some nice radial root pattern going here. We'll spread some of these out. I got one thick one down here I'm gonna get rid of, I think. I got a couple thick ones. I think this one right here. That one was kind of thick. And then we're just gonna lay it in there like that. I'm going to go ahead and pour some soil in there. It's going to probably go all over the place for the moment here. And this was really dry soil, and the roots are pretty dry. Whoops. So there we go. We popped it right up there. Gotta be careful here. So I got all these rocks from my other Portulacarias that I just took out of before. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that rock right there and keep that up pretty good right there. All right. So what are we gonna do to style this guy? I think that's a pretty nice looking front there. We got some branches going out the back, so that won't bother the backside too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shorten this one right here. And I will keep these cuttings for sure for some more variegated. And we're just going to trim this up a little bit. Make a couple of cuttings. Let this grow up. We're going to have all the swoop going that way. And we'll just let this thing continue to shoot up and grow with all the different layers of the future pads, if you will. So just bringing it all in nice and compact. All right. So this one goes up over here, this one comes up here and back here, so we'll see where those grow. I got one back here that I just don't think we need. Growing on the inside here. There we go. This one's going down. I'm going to cut this one back here. Another piece going down right there, and there we go. I'm going to have to put a bigger rock in there. How about we do this rock? For the time being, right there. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3 branches in a row right here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. We'll see what this one does here and see where branches kind of veer out. Cut this one a little bit shorter. Then we got boom, 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 boom. We got this kind of line of branches growing off. I'll cut this one off. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that for now. We'll see what branches grow the most, where they head out. All right, so there we have our cascading, variegated Portulacaria Afra. We got the rock in there. We'll just give it a little bit of water today because it was really dry. We've got plenty of foliage here to support watering the roots. We won't get them too saturated and waterlogged. We don't want a Portulacaria to be watered too much. If this was a defoliated tree, I wouldn't water right away because we would want foliage to start before that would happen. So we'll give this thing a little bit of water and put it back on the bench. This is going to be a fun little guy to watch grow this winter because he didn't do as much last winter. So we're going to see what he's going to do this winter. All right, got some bottom growing leaves off of there. All right. Wonderful, all the PAs are short, condensed, and ready to go. So that is gonna do it for another edition of Dave's Bonsai. Got all the PAs taken care of. I've only been having plants in the plant room for about 3 weeks and we already have updates. That's crazy. Let's get this where it needs to go with some water and we will be back with a show very, very soon. Until that time, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one.